Welcome, welcome to our springtime farmhouse. The weather officially is warm and it's green outside, and I am so inspired to bring new life to this home. Honestly, I forgot how much I love this time of year. Things have really made a shift both inside and out. Inside, I'm filling baskets up with colorful eggs and bringing in some wildflowers and greenery just to make this place come alive. Outside, we have a lot of things going on with the homestead. We had a brand new calf. We have a 6-month-old calf that we finally weaned, and so this means that we are bringing in the milk like crazy, and I'm enjoying it so much. I'm skimming off cream and making butter. I'm making homemade mozzarella and ricotta. We've been waiting for this. We knew it was coming, and it is really fun to have all this stuff going and to know it's all coming fresh from our farm. I've just come alive in this kitchen and been very inspired in the last several weeks. Today on the agenda, I'm going to be sharing our spring farmhouse with my favorite way of doing that, homemaking. So I'm gonna take you along as I swap out a few things, bring in some touches of spring. I might swap out the boys' clothes. I have some spring cleaning to do. I might show you some of the dairy products I've been making and briefly how that's going and what I've learned. First, I need to make some butter. Now I'm just going to strain off the buttermilk after blending the cream until it turned into butter and buttermilk, so past the whipped cream stage. Using my blender is my favorite way to do this. It is just so easy. And then I put a tea towel on top of a fine mesh strainer. You could put it right in the strainer, but to me this just gets a little bit less messy because I can just throw the tea towel in the wash and then rinse the buttermilk out of the butter with cool water. The more buttermilk you get out, the longer this will store. So the buttermilk is what would go bad. Fat alone doesn't go bad, and so that is why butter can keep for a really long time. But if you keep a lot of buttermilk in there, that's not gonna be the case. And then salt it before putting it in my butter mold. So I picked up this butter mold from an antique shop. Actually, I can't remember. I have a couple of butter products here. I have a old paddle that you can use to shape butter, and I have a mold, and my aunt got me one of them for Christmas, but I can't remember which one I bought at an antique shop and which one she bought. But I'm excited to use this, and not only is it beautiful and it makes a nice little square butter, but it also helps squeeze out more buttermilk. Spring feels like a really good opportunity to bring in some lighter colors, to wash up sheets and curtains, and sheets I wash regularly, but some of those things you don't wash as regularly, like curtains. It's a good time in spring. Really, it's a good time anytime you think of it, which isn't all that often. But I wanted to bring a little color into this room to celebrate this season. I want to take a break from my spring homemaking to tell you about today's video sponsor, Thrive Market. Thrive Market is a subscription-based online grocery store that specializes in natural and organic products, a lot of which I have a hard time finding locally, or if I do, they're really expensive. I love the convenience of having Thrive Market ship them directly to my door. Some examples of that are coconut water, einkorn flour, seasonings, jams, organic condiments like ketchup, and coconut aminos, organic pastas. I love their collagen peptides and bee pollen that I put in my smoothies. Now, the Thrive Market website makes it really easy to sort by your dietary preference. So if you are paleo, gluten-free, dairy-free, you can sort by those options, which makes it a very straightforward, easy shopping experience. Now, Thrive Market allows you to pay for the year, which gives you a bit of a discount, or you can pay month to month if you just want to check it out and see what they have that you could utilize in your own kitchen or pantry, something that's a good deal that you get a lot. You can check it out on Thrive Market for a couple months. I've always done the yearly subscription, and that's worked great for us. Thrive Market's website also has a deals section, which I love to glance through and see if there's anything in there that's a really good deal. They also ship orders over $49 free, making it really convenient. Thrive Market is offering Farmhouse on Bloom viewers 30% off your first order, plus a free gift worth up to $60 by visiting thrivemarket.com/farmhouse on Boone. It'll also be linked in the description box below. Again, thanks to Thrive Market for sponsoring today's video. Before getting back into my homemaking, I'm gonna stop for a coffee break. You can see just how full this fridge is of milk. I've been trying to be pretty good about straining off cream so that I have that readily available for all kinds of purposes, not just butter making, but my afternoon coffee, whipped cream. I like to strain it off pretty quickly because then it's readily accessible and I find myself using it more, which is good. Right now we need to use as much as we can. I know some of you in different parts of the world are not experiencing this warm of weather, but it has been in the 70s and 80s, which is actually pretty crazy for April. And so I switched over to iced coffee. So I'm doing a shot of espresso, half cream, half milk, and some date syrup. Gonna shine up my cast iron skillets really quick. I had some leftover fat in here from a lunch, and when I have that, I will just wipe it on all of the skillets before stacking them back up. All right, back to washing up and cleaning and decorating this farmhouse. I am not normally an ironer of linen sheets. They are crinkly and wrinkly, and that is okay. But I wanted to turn back the top part of this bed, and I wanted a nice flat edge. I already had my iron out from an ongoing sewing project, which I'm going to share with you a little bit more about later in this video. And so I knew it'd be pretty simple to give it the look that I wanted by ironing the top part. Last summer, I had some blogging friends out, and my friend Andrea from Pine and Prospect Home, she slept in our room. I kind of shifted the entire house around, got rid of a few of my kids and kept a few and put them in certain spots. Anyways, I slept out in the cottage, and Andrea slept in here. And when she made the bed in the morning, she always turned the top part way further back than I normally did. And it looked so pretty because you could see more of the sheet underneath. It just looked more professional. I don't know, maybe I never really learned how to properly dress a bed, but I took some notes from her, and I love the way this color pops out and how it goes with the green. I am really loving more and more color in our house. The more I add, the more it suits it. And so having green and peach and all the colors in the rug, and then I have the colors over in the crib canopy that I made for Theodore because he's still in our room. I feel like it makes this old Victorian farmhouse scene. It definitely wasn't suited with a more minimal vibe. I'm learning that more and more, adding more and more, and I'm enjoying every bit of it. I'm going to show you the pleated heavy curtains that I'm working on for the boys' room. That's something that I want to bring in here too. Now they're time consuming, and so this will be a while, but eventually I would love to put in some patterned pleated drapes instead of the flowy linen. I can just tell from other projects I've done in here, like these pleated lamp shades and the rugs I brought in the furniture, it would really suit it better. If you're peeking through that doorway right now and that back window was dressed with a heavy patterned curtain, it would look so much prettier. So eventually I would like to do all of that, but of course it'll take time. I was going to tell you also a little update on the whole wallpaper thing as I'm watering these plants from my room and the entryway. I shared how much I loved the wallpaper that we added to the stairway area in our home, and I still absolutely love it. But there are a few things. Our old plaster walls, I don't think we installed it quite properly, so I'm gonna have to do some seam repair. I bought the stuff to do the seam repair. And also there are a few finger marks that were like greasy fingers that I can't get off. And so I think for a majority of this farmhouse, we would be better off, even though I love the wallpaper so much more than just paint, but with painting a lot of things as opposed to all wallpaper. I also thought about doing some stenciling. I still want to do more wallpaper, but I'm afraid that the maintenance might be more than I'm willing to do. I'm not super particular about things, so and I try to be, but kids do run through here with, certain things they shouldn't and things on their boots they shouldn't. And so I can't be too precious about everything. So I'm trying to find the balance between beauty and practicality. Now, I am cleaning off our wood stove. I usually do mourn the last fire in the wood stove. The coziness is the one thing that makes winter redeemable, and spring just popped out of absolute nowhere, and I didn't really see it coming, and so I didn't get to mourn the last fire, but I'm pretty sure we've had it, and so I will clean it and look forward to October. Not too much. I'm really glad it's spring, but I would have at least liked to sit in front of it one last time and say, this is probably it. I have some pillow covers that I washed for the front porch. This is where our dog lays every night. And because of that, again, I can't be too precious about it. I just keep washing and putting them back on here. Yes, the pillows are faded and things don't look perfect, but a good washing does make it look better. It looks cared for, presentable. I'm working with what I have here, and this little simple farmhouse porch brings us all so much joy. The boys color out here on the sidewalks with chalk, and they play Nerf, and they move chairs around, and they play music. And my daughter was on the front porch working on her filmmaking course. Not that she's making a filmmaking course. She is taking a filmmaking course because she's very interested in that, on the front porch swing for a really long time. So it just needs a little bit of shining up for us to continue to enjoy it in its current imperfect form. For however long we've owned this ottoman, I haven't yet washed it. Or maybe I washed it once. I can't remember. And if I did, I might have done it on here. Anyways, it needs it. And whenever I wash something like this, I'm always real surprised at how fast it looks so much better. I always think I should do this every single week. Despite all of the warm weather we've been having, I have not yet brought out the kids' summer clothes until now, which with the way our basement is set up, it's not a place we visit very often. My sister was saying that her kids have been pulling out of their summer bins for weeks now because they're kind of accessible to them. And so, yes, she didn't fully get them out, but they can still get into them. Mine haven't. And so the kids have just been really hot or running around without shirts on. I pretty much swap everything out twice a year, usually May and October, because that is when it really becomes necessary to have all of the cold weather stuff in October. And then in May is when we can safely put that away. I do this because we don't have closets, and so I want to have just a really small inventory. Usually as the next season is approaching and it's getting hot, say in April every once in a while, or getting cold every once in a while in early October, we will bring up a few things. And so there's a little bit of a mix around this time because, okay, we needed like 1 or 2 pairs of jeans. We needed maybe 1 pair of shorts. But for the most part, I do a big swap out and make it to where each kid really has about 1 drawer, sort of a capsule, not really, because it's not curated or put together in any beautiful way. But I make it to where they have a small amount of clothes. It's very manageable, especially for the younger 5. Every once in a while, I like to use good old bleach on curtains, shower curtains that are white in this house. It really makes them shine again. Now here in one of my kids' rooms, I've shared this room before, we want to paint it in keeping with the theme of adding more color. My daughter, who is also into decor, thinks that we should pick a yellow. And ever since she said it, at first I was like, I started looking at some different yellows over on Pinterest, and I am completely sold on the idea. So maybe that'll be coming again. We just always have a dream board a mile long, and whether or not we get to it in the next year or 10 doesn't necessarily matter. I rely very heavily on the Picture This app on my phone to figure out when things are coming up, if it's something I planted or a weed. Well, it turns out, and my husband called it, he already told me that this green thing was bush honeysuckle, which is not something that we planted. It's more of an invasive type of thing, but it's so pretty right now. It's so green. It's the only green thing that I'm cutting from it to use in my arrangement. I also cut a few little trees that weren't supposed to be there, some elm trees, I believe. Anyways, we'll eventually take it out, especially when it starts crowding out what is supposed to be coming up there. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and leave that. Here is the curtain project that I have been working on, well, little by little. I only have 2 panels done. And the reason for that is they take a while. And it took me quite a while of thinking through how I wanted to do it, to make sure that I didn't waste any fabric, because I invested in some pricier fabric. I'm also lining them, and so I didn't want to mess up. That was my main goal, and so I thought through it a while. Then I finally sewed one, and now I'm just working on it little by little. My biggest goal is to work on it close enough together so if I finish one and then I take off for a month, I'm not going to remember all of the steps in the order that I did them, making it a lot less straightforward. But just making sure that I'm always working on these a little bit so I don't forget the process, but it will take several months because I only get little bits of time to sew here and there. And I plan on sharing like a full tutorial on how this all went. Of course, if it looks good, I think that they're going to though, whenever it's all done. So I am lining it with blackout fabric. I wanted these very structured and substantial, and I'm doing the pleater hooks. I also am putting a little stitch in the front of the curtains or in the front of the pleats, because I really wanted them to pinch together really nicely at the bottom. Like I said, I am taking my time and care to make these extra special, extra custom. I think I mentioned in another video that I got a quote for a similar style of curtain with this fabric on a different website, and it was really pricey. And so I thought, you know what, I am just going to up my sewing game here and try to create that exact look. So I will update you later. Okay, now into the kitchen. I'm going to share with you a few of the dairy products I've been working on. I'm so excited about this. If you are also the type of person who gets excited about making everything from scratch, even when you wouldn't necessarily have to because you can just get it from the store, you are my people. You understand. One thing I've been trying to figure out though is whenever I get Greek yogurt from the grocery store, or any yogurt for that matter, it is creamy, it is sweet, it is not watery or whey-y as the case may be. And so I have been trying to figure out how to recreate that taste. I think people who like to cook things from scratch, myself included, a lot of times we will just accept the fact that some store-bought things are more delicious. And with this, I'm like, you know what? I just want to figure out how to make it really good. I realize that it's healthier to make it less sweet and to not add certain things. Well, anyways, the thing that I did was I strained off most of the whey to make it really, really thick. And then I add back in cream and then maple syrup. And it makes the most creamy, thick, but not like insanely sour. Whenever you concentrate homemade yogurt, it makes it like that much more sour yogurt. And the kids are really loving it. And so I like this method. I realized it'd probably be healthier if I fermented it for 24 hours, strained off all the whey. But then it's, I can't get the kids to really eat it. And so this is the solution I've come up with, and we really enjoy it. It completely replaces the store-bought stuff that I call ice cream, because it's so good that it's like not really yogurt. Now, this is not as sweet as that. It's somewhere in between homemade yogurt and store-bought in taste. I had to hang out the sheets to dry and doing a little bit of landscaping. I want to share with you how I'm making this whey ricotta. So whenever I make homemade mozzarella, you're left with a lot of whey. And I've been told for a long time now that you should just strain off the whey and that will leave ricotta. And it's never done anything for me. Well, the other day I left the whey out on the stove on low heat in order to evaporate off some of the liquid because I was going to make a soup with it. And I saw cheese floating around. And so it turns out, I think when people say to do that, they are probably heating their whey more than I am. And that's what makes the ricotta happen in the whey. So anyways, now that I know about this, I have been heating my whey after making mozzarella for several hours on low heat with the lid off, and then straining it off, adding some salt, and it makes the most delicious ricotta. And I'm left with very little waste, just a little bit of whey left over after a gallon of milk. All right, well, I hope that you enjoyed coming around with me around the farmhouse, making my dairy products, cleaning some things up, doing a little redecorating, and generally just enjoying this beautiful season. As always, if you're brand new, please hit that subscribe. I make new videos every week on food from scratch, natural living, and a handmade home. Thank you so much for stopping by our farmhouse.